What is the roadmap to defeat self-sabotage, negative thinking, and learned helplessness? In these unprecedented times, you must get connected, get growing, get certain, and get attitude. The Get Attitude Podcast. And what is up, Gappers? This is Glenn Bill from the Get Attitude Podcast, the award-winning Get Attitude Podcast. And man, oh man, do we got some fire to bring to your attitude today. We have somebody that is absolutely on fire, that is going to put fire into your attitude. And if you need a kick in your ass, I'm telling you, this is the episode that is going to give it to you. We have Raul Villacis, who is the founder of the King's Code book.com. He's also, his website is raulvillacis.com, Villacis. It will be in our show notes. He is the CEO and founder of the Next Level Experience, Next Level Media, and Next Level Real Estate. This guy is a two-time best-selling author, sought-out keynote speaker, author of what we just said, The King's Code. He coaches hundreds of CEOs, entrepreneurs, to help them find the edge, not only the edge in their business, but the edge in their life. He uses unconventional methods. Here's what's great. All of you gappers out there, you're unconventional. So we got the perfect coach just for you. But trust me, this guy produces results. You've probably seen him on social media. We're going to give you a quick little peek of him right now.
Why do you need to find the code to the edge? Most men have no fucking clue why they do the shit that they do. So they're constantly reacting to life, putting out fucking fires, pleasing everyone, pretending that is them, but the reality is that they're drifting through life.
I was looking for something that would shake me out of this dark place that I was in.
You know, what got me to come to here was just trying to find something that was different than everything else I tried. Something that would get me out of my hamster wheel.
All right, so let's bring up America's #1 next level coach, speaker, author, Raul. Welcome to the Get Attitude Podcast.
Man, love it. Thank you for having me here, Glenn.
All right.
Appreciate you.
All right. Well, I was telling you off camera, your sponsored ads were blowing me up on Facebook. Obviously, you targeted me or something. I'm like, I got to get this dude on here. The one ad that you have was talking about 3 different types of men. And I was like, man, this dude is on fire. Now, I don't know if you want to run through those 3 different types of men and what that means, and then we'll get to know you. But talk to us. You guys heard what he said in that opening video. If you are on a hamster wheel, if you're drifting through life, if you don't know what you're doing next, if you have no vitality, if you have no passion, this guy's going to help you. Raul, tell me the 3 different types of men, and then we'll go from there.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here, brother. It's a pleasure to be here and get a chance to connect with your audience. But I truly believe there's 3 types of men. Number 1 is a man who's a victim. And we all been through that. We all have this victim mentality at one point, and we're trying to figure out life. And the second one is the information addict. We all have that information addict that wants to have a perfect solution, a perfect strategy, but the reality is there's no such thing as perfection. Perfection is the lowest standard. But the third is this executioner. That's the man that's not waiting for things to happen to him. He's making shit happen. And see, with all those 3 types of men, every single day you have a choice. Do you feed the victim mentality, what I call the peasant mentality? In my book, The King's Code, I talk about the peasant mentality. I talk about why men right now are drifting through life. Then you have the opportunity to feed the warrior inside of you. And a lot of men right now, they're sedated warriors. They don't have that energy to be able to go and hunt. They're waiting for the government to take care of them. They're waiting for their wives to take care of them. They're waiting for somebody else to do the work instead of them stepping into the role of producing and being productive. And the third is the king mentality. That's what I'm passionate about, Glenn. That's the reason probably I target you, because I truly believe that men who are leaders are kings. But we have to take our kingdom in our own hands. We can't wait for the government. We can't wait for the people to give it to us. We have to build a kingdom. The kingdom I'm talking about, Glenn, is coming from the inside out. No amount of business, no amount of success is going to give you that certainty that men are lacking right now, which is a certainty that comes from the inside, not from the outside.
I love it. I love it. It's almost like you just went word for word on our trailer on the 3 things that, you don't need to be doing.
I live it, brother. I live it.
I love it. So tell me a little bit, I'd like to get your take on attitude. What does attitude mean to you? And who is your greatest attitude coach?
So I have a tagline in my real estate company. I actually recently just saw it again. At the bottom of my email, I have a quote that says, attitude is everything.
Yes.
Because I truly believe that if you don't have the right attitude, it doesn't matter how much money you have, how smart you are. If you don't have the right attitude is the most important thing. Now, for me, attitude is not just one person who's influenced me in attitude. My biggest teachers are my kids. And I don't know if you have kids, Glenn, but my 15-year-old daughter has an attitude.
Yes.
And she told me the other day, and I remember this clearly because I did a quick podcast. She goes, Dad, don't be extra. You always try to be extra. I don't know if you have a teenager, but extra is not a good thing. For them, extras you being too much, right?
Right.
So I started thinking about you have to own the fact that you're extra. You have to be extraordinary. You can't wait to fit into with people. You can't wait for people to accept you. You have to go above and beyond, because what happens if you're not extra in your business?
Yes.
You don't get paid. What happens if you're not extra in your marriage? You won't get laid. And what happens when you're not extra when it comes to connection with God? You won't live your purpose.
Right.
So we have to really have that extraordinary mentality to go to the next level in everything that we do.
And so how would you define attitude? What do you have a definition for it, or what comes to your brain when you hear that?
Well, I think we have a similar view of philosophy of life, Glenn. Is attitude is having that edge, right? Having the edge, having that mentality that you are not afraid to take risks. For me, I have an acronym of the edge. It's energy, determination, to be guided to execute.
I love it.
So if you don't have that attitude to be able to take risks, you're not going to succeed. If you have the attitude to actually be okay with failure. I just had a phone call with one of my clients right before this podcast. He's had a shitty month of November. He was on fire since January until September and October, but then all of a sudden things started to happen in November. But see how quick we forget the blessings, how quick we forget how far we've come. So I had to remind him. I said, okay, you got one shitty month. Right. Are you going to let this shitty month ruin the whole year? Or are you going to be able to get back up and actually count the blessings for the last 10 months that you had? And I think attitude is important, because we need to make sure that we're checking our attitude in the daily basis. Am I reacting? Am I being the victim? Or do I have the attitude to be able to be grateful for the things that I have? Do I have the attitude to be able to say, well, it's a shitty month, but I'm going to make it right the end of this month?
Yeah, I love that. Attitude is not about reacting. It's about acting. And I've always said I've seen rich men go broke. I've seen happily married men get divorced, and I've seen perfectly healthy men die. Why? Because they didn't get attitude about their health, their finances, or their marriage, right? And so that's what happens when you don't get attitude. So you are here to give us some attitude, and right now I'd say you're doing a pretty darn good job. I do appreciate it. Let me ask you this. Did you ever have a bad attitude? Who was that?
Man. Who? I mean, that's the whole reason that I put together this whole program. This program was developed out of my experience, Glenn, when I was a peasant, when I had a victim mentality, when I was a sedated warrior. In my book, I talk about going into the tunnel. And Glenn, I think that we're probably about similar age brackets, right? And we go through what we call the midlife crisis, right? Every man is going to go through a midlife crisis, whether they want to admit it or not. But what happens in the midlife crisis, Glenn, is that we have the attitude that, okay, if I buy this, I'm going to feel better. If I get a nice car, then I'm going to feel better. Or most men, when they go to midlife crisis, they want to start a different business. When they get bored of their business, they want to start a different business. Or they get bored with their wife, they want to have affairs. So they get bored with life, all of a sudden they go into a crisis.
Yes.
I believe that the tunnel, what I call the midlife crisis, the tunnel is a rite of passage. And back in those days, in the caveman days, Glenn, if you wanted to be the leader of your tribe, you had to go there and kill the wolf.
Yes.
There was a ritual for you to go out there and kill the wolf. Not just because you had a business card, or you look good, or you talked a good game, you're going to be a leader. No, you have to prove yourself. Are you worthy to be a leader? Are you going to be able to kill the wolf and come back alive? That's what the rite of passage does to a man. It proves those that are serious about being a king and having purpose, or are you going to just accept and have the attitude of defeat and have the attitude that is as good as it's going to get, and become what I call the sedated warrior? And that's what we're facing. One of the reasons that I've done, and the reason I wrote this book is because I've seen a lot of men being depressed, and through COVID has escalated even more.
Yes.
Because now the biggest killer of men is depression. It's not cancer, it's not sickness, it is depression. More men are dying every single day by the silent killer of depression. And women, they've been conditioned to ask for help. There's a lot of groups to help women. It's okay for a woman to ask for help. On the other hand, it's not okay for a man to ask for help. We feel weak. We feel like we're less than a man. Therefore, we don't raise our hand and say, listen, I'm going through shit right now. I'm going through a dark moment. I'm feeling depressed. I have more calls with successful businessmen who are hundreds of millions of dollars in net worth, and they call me up. It's like, I don't want to live. I don't want to live. I don't have a reason to live. I'm getting divorced, or I'm doing this. And then we fall into this dark place of the tunnel of depression, where the reality is that if we had the attitude of being grateful, we have the attitude of finding the gift on the darkest moments, we're actually going to become better than we were before entering the tunnel. So
how do you coach, or what do you tell people when their state or their attitude is not good, right? Do you have your formula? And it sounds like you hit on a few of these things, so it's okay if you're repetitive, it's all right. But like, what the person sitting in the car, walking on the beach, listening to you today, who's feeling down, who's feeling depressed, what's a quick formula? What can they focus on? What can they do? What actions can they take to change that state to get them thinking right?
Here's the first step. Again, I'm speaking to men because that's what I specialize in.
Cool.
For women, it's different, and I don't claim to be a coach for everyone, right? But for men, the biggest handicap, Glenn, is that we've been conditioned and taught that being depressed, being alone, or being sad, or having emotions is wrong. We go through life thinking that every day we're supposed to be happy, and if we're not happy, then we're not feeling good.
Right.
The reality is that don't run away from your darkness. Don't run away from depression. Feel that pressure. Depression is the pressure. Most of us, we're trying to run away from it. So if you are feeling in a dark place right now, the best thing for you to do is go in and be with it. All right. And don't make decisions in a dark place, but don't try to sedate it with alcohol or drugs. Don't try to run away and try to be around with people. What I tell my clients, listen, can you be alone for an hour? Go into a dark room for an hour with your thoughts and write down all your thoughts. Write down all the shit that's bothering you right now, and then call me.
I love it.
Because that way, at least it gets it out from your head, and it goes into a piece of paper. Most of the time when I have them read it back to me, it's bullshit.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're reading, oh shit, I'm depressed because my wife doesn't love me. I'm depressed because my kids don't respect me. I'm depressed because I lost this money. Okay, so what? What the fuck are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna write more? I always tell them, write more, tell me more, until I realize, fuck, like this is nothing.
Right.
So what we need is contrast. Are you alive today? Yes. Okay. You didn't die today. Okay. You have money in bank account. At least you have some money to be able to overcome your challenges.
Yeah.
I just had a guy right now, the same guy that I was talking to, he lost $2.5 million in a bad deal.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. So I said, what are you gonna do? He goes, well, I could sue them. I could do all this. Well, your lawyers are gonna take care of that. I said, what are you going to do? And then he started to think about it, like, shit, I'm gonna go and produce more.
Yes.
So that's the answer. Because yes, you can have your lawyers take care of all your problems, but understand, nobody's gonna fight the battles for you, especially with men who have a certain status. We have a lot of people fighting our battles. I know guys who have coaches for everything: a mindset coach, a spiritual coach, a fitness coach, a financial planner, and they delegate everything. But guess what? You can't delegate the edge.
Right.
The edge is the one thing that when they come to my program, they get hit with a mirror, and they realize that they can't delegate this shit.
Right.
You either have the edge or have that attitude, or you don't. And guess what? If you don't, it's better that you know now, so we could sharpen your edge.
Yes.
Because what happens, a lot of us, we're going around pretending that we have the edge, but the reality is the edge has to be sharpened every single day. I don't claim that I have the edge every single day. I have to sharpen my edge every single day. The secret, Glenn, for me is I get up depressed with anxiety and a bad attitude every single morning. 90% of the time, I get up drained of energy. But guess what? I created a process every single morning. That's what I teach my clients. A daily ritual that I walk them through step by step to be able to rewire the subconscious mind to face the dark moments, face the darkness, face those fears so they don't control you. So you actually have what I call turn pain into fuel, turn pain into power in order for you to start the day with power.
You know, one of my favorite quotes about pressure is from Peyton Manning, the great Indianapolis Colts quarterback. He said, "Pressure is a privilege, and you need to own it and love it." So that's kind of what you just said. When you talk about that morning ritual, you don't have to give us the whole ritual, but I'd love to hear maybe the first one or two things that you think people could do when you talk about the ritual.
There's no secret. I'm going to give it to you because I don't want, this is not my secret sauce, or this is not what I get paid. I get paid for giving men an experience, and I get paid for helping men implement the things that I teach. But in my book, it's right there, and it's 4 simple steps, okay? Number 1 is gratitude. If you can't tap into gratitude, you don't have shit.
Right.
Because you're going to tap into the victim mentality. So the first step is find things that you feel grateful for. The second step is create some energy, shift your body, whether do some exercises, do some push-ups. What I do is I have them put a song that actually could do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, do some pull-ups, something that engages your main muscles, some squats. And then as you're doing them, I want you not to say affirmations, I want you to create power statements. Power statements are not the same as affirmation. A power statement is something like with power, something that you actually believe in. So I have them write down at least 10 power statements so they will repeat at the beat of the song. I want them to hypnotize themselves to be able to believe those power statements.
Give us one power statement. I am strong.
No, so
I'm
one power
invincible.
statement from me would be, I command my subconscious mind to be in alignment with my soul so I can have the energy, the wisdom, and the health to live my purpose today.
Boom!
I command every single cell of my body to be in alignment with my soul so I can do God's will today. I command the universe to manifest into reality whatever I want, whatever I need, whatever I desire, because I'm a co-creator with God. So you have to say it with conviction. You have to say it with energy. See, as I say this right now, my arms are, my hair is popping out of my arms because I'm engaging those thoughts and my body's ready for it.
Wow.
You
that's
have
awesome.
to prime yourself to be ready for it. Right? So you have gratitude, you have energy, and the third one, which until today I haven't heard anybody teach this, is I help them through a breathing exercise.
Oh, breathing. Okay.
Breathing exercise similar to the Windhoff method, but now I want to take them into the darkness. I want them to focus on fear. I want them to focus on all the insecurities. I want you to really bring that chi, that energy into your core. And I have a method that makes them feel as if they're dying to this process, because I have them hold their breath until they can't hold it no more and then let it go. And then the fourth step is you surrender. Surrender to a higher power, surrender to a higher, to God, to whatever you believe in. Because that's when you have the contrast. I want you to feel every single morning as if you can't breathe. Your problems are choking you. Your challenges are choking you. Your negative energy, your negative attitude is killing you. I want you to feel that. So then you could breathe again and feel alive and realize that today is a gift. That God is giving you the biggest present, which is today. And that's when you shift it.
One of the co-issues with what we're going through in this crazy time is addiction, and you meant it. I'm guessing that many of the men that come to your events probably fight the booze and drug issues. What's your thoughts for those people that may be listening now that are going, man, I can't get off the juice, bro?
Every entrepreneur is an addict. We wouldn't be where we are, we're not addict. We're addict to our work, we're addict to our clients. The problem is when we don't find certainty in an addiction, so we start making money or we start bringing value, so we start creating addictions to something that is going to sedate that pain, right? I went through it. I started drinking every single day because I had a physical pain. So for about a year, I was drinking half a bottle of tequila every single day until I realized that, man, I have a problem.
Yeah.
But I'm also, and then I went from my addiction to alcohol to my addiction to personal development.
Yes.
So I took that and I went to seminars every single month, and I did over $500,000 spending in personal development because I became an addict of information.
I
right?
love it. Yeah.
So what I tell people is everything is energy. So if you are addicted to a certain type of energy, I want you to ask yourself, is this useful or not useful? Because the problem with addiction is that we make things wrong, and the guilt and shame is what prevents us from getting help or prevents us from actually getting better.
Man,
right? So
good.
I take the guilt and shame out of the equation. I said, okay, is this useful or not useful? Is having a drink or getting drunk useful for what you want to do or not useful?
Right.
And if it's not useful, then find other ways that are going to be able to help you get what you want in life.
Talk to me in that opening video. It looked like the event you were in with those guys that were saying they want to do stuff. That looks like, is that a fairly limited audience? I know you speak on the big stage and all that. So tell me a little bit. That's probably not the Leadership Summit that I want to also talk about, or is it the Leadership Summit?
So, no, this is the Bootcamp experience. And what we've done, this is kind of like my signature event where I select a certain type of men that I know they're going to make an impact, because my methods or my system is not for the average guy. It's not for the average Joe who's just trying to get motivated. The men that are here are business owners who have an ability to impact thousands of lives, right? But because we go to a personal development and we could hide through the masses and we could pretend, they come to an experience where they're able to get in a limited amount of time the results that they're looking for. So that's the breakthrough. That's a custom experience. This is the moment that I'm breaking through all the patterns, all the negative beliefs. I'm digging deep, and there's nowhere they could hide. That's what the max participants that we have is 12 guys at a time.
Okay.
And this is where, myself and my team, we really dig deep into helping you see what are the negative patterns that are showing up, the subconscious patterns that are showing up, so we could actually identify them and then we'll rewire it. And I've been told it's like the ultimate personal development experience for businessmen.
Good for you. And so you can go to raulvillacis.com to find out about the breakthrough. And what do you do that once or twice a year with the 12 men?
Yeah, we do it 3 times a year.
Three times a year, 12 guys. And that's awesome. And how long have you been doing that?
So the first experience that I had with this, I did it once every month for 1 year.
Oh my gosh.
Because I needed to perfect it. I needed to test it. But at the same time, I realized, like, man, this is deep work. This is really deep work. This is not like a conventional personal development. So I wanted to quit every single event. I actually remember telling my wife, this is the last time I'm doing this. Like, this is too much pressure. I don't want to put this. I want to just focus on my real estate company. I'm gonna just, start working on that. But the voice inside of me says, one more time, Raul. One more time, just one more man, one more group of men. And after 1 year, realize that if nobody else is going to do this type of work, then I've been called to do this.
Yes.
Because this is not something that, when I tell my guys who come in, it's a deep journey that I take myself through at the same time. So I have to relive those moments, Glenn, again, every single event. So I've been doing it for the past 6 years. And the last 2 years, I've been really focusing on the coaching aspect of the experience, and we realize that the coaching aspect of the experience, because I have coaches that work for me that are coaching these guys, and we've actually had virtual bootcamp experiences that were as impactful as the one in person. So I'm looking to continue to create more modalities to be able to help and serve more men. But the bootcamp experience is where I'm putting all my time, all my energy, and spending 3 days with this man. 18-hour days.
Wow. So so that's a total immersion program, which is, and so let's focus in on the Leadership Summit that you got coming up in March. Is that going to be a bigger format, and where will that be? And tell us all about, for those people that want to be leaders, who are leaders, that are going, this dude is freaking on fire. I want more of Raul. He's going to tell us about the Leadership Summit. So tell us about what's going on with that.
So the bootcamp experience is for guys who are ready to go all in, right? Who are ready to say, okay, I want you to strip me of all my identity. I want you to strip me from all my negative beliefs. And I want you to bring the hammer down and break through me so I could actually find my edge, right? So that's the boot camp. I realized not every man is ready for that, Glenn. Not every man is ready. Yeah, not every man is ready to get broken down to have a breakthrough.
Yes.
So we created this other experience called the Leadership Summit. It's all about community. It's all about being around men who are making shit happen. So I don't know what has been your experience in the personal development world, but every single time that I used to go to a personal development community or a seminar, I found myself that most people didn't know how to get shit done. They were there because they wanted just to get motivated, right?
Yes.
And that's where men like you and I could hide from those from that crowd, because it's easy for us to even lie to ourselves, thinking, "Hey, I'm better than this guy.
Right.
I don't need this seminar. I don't need this experience." Right. So what we've done with the Leadership Summit is we actually have the 80% of the people who are there have been already through my program, have been already through my experiences. So the energy level, and then we only take about 20 to 30% of new people into the room. So now when you come in, the energy is through the roof, and the connection, it goes deeper. So in 2 days, these guys feel like they're part of a community, they're part of a brotherhood. And that's what we're here to do. We want to create a bigger impact.
Yeah.
And the Leadership Summit is, for men who want to be part of a brotherhood, who want to be part of a community of businessmen who have an edge, because I truly believe that proximity is power. So when you're around people who are making shit happen, eventually that's going to rub on you, and you're going to want to make things happen.
So who are your favorite? I've been to and spent about as much as you with all the coaches, and I'm sure we've been to a lot of the same. Who's kind of your favorite? Who really impacted you and helped you make the shift and help you find the edge to go, I need to be doing more than the real estate thing?
Well, I think I've had stages in my life, and I was talking to my wife the other day. Like I'm thankful for every single teacher. I'm thankful for every single mentor. I'm thankful for every single person that has been in my life. But we all go through stages, right? When I was in the peasant mentality, I was more gravitating towards the Tony Robbins world, right? And I'm so thankful to Tony, because Tony helped me realize that, okay, this is, you have something, you have an edge, right? And as grew more into that warrior mentality, I started to gravitate more into the meditation retreats. I went to India to kind of like tone down my warrior and find the next level, which is the king. So I've had gurus, I had monks, cool. I had healers in my life that I've been influenced by to really create a remix of everything I've learned to be able to create what I call the edge.
That is so cool. Now, talk to me a little bit about where are you from originally?
Ecuador.
South
America.
So what did the spirit of Ecuador, what did the culture of Ecuador, living in Ecuador, what did that do for your attitude? And what's the attitude of Ecuador?
Well, I was going to write a book, and I had an interview with Gary V. I'm sure you know who Gary V is. And,
sure.
And him and I talked about the immigrant mentality, and he actually had an idea to write a book about the immigrant mentality, the immigrant attitude, right?
Yes.
I truly believe that gave me the opportunity for me to be grateful for the things that I have here.
Yes.
I came from Ecuador when I was 11 years old, looking for a big opportunity. For my family brought me here. My daughter, my mom, my dad came here. And I truly believe that the immigrant mentality is what's created this country, right? And that's why this country is who it is, because all of us are immigrants. The only ones that are here, from the beginning were the Indians, right?
Yep.
But that attitude of coming here and creating something, or of not wanting somebody to give us something, but we actually are fighting for it. We actually are working towards something, is what created who I am today.
And then tell me a little bit about your real estate. Are you a flipper investor type guy? Are you a broker, or what do you do?
So when the market crashed in 2008, I had a bunch of properties. We had a brokerage, of a real estate company, had a mortgage company, we had developments. When the market crashed, I thought I was going to overcome that crash. I was one of those guys that said, no, this is not going to hurt me, man. I have enough money that I'm going to weather the storm. I'm going to be the one guy standing, right?
Yes.
But little by little, we see what happened, right? The guy who has the biggest ego will usually is the one who's going to lose everything, and that was me. My ego was bigger than my sense at that moment.
Sure.
So I lost millions of dollars in the crash, but I got into an opportunity to manage distressed assets. So I remember that I actually got an email from in a webinar, And the guy says, well, now is the biggest opportunity. Invest in distressed assets and buy this property at a discount. I said, well, I don't have any money. I want to give my properties away. I don't have money to buy properties, right? So then I looked into it, and this was a national thing.
Yes.
Like banks were looking for people to sell their properties to. So I became a vendor for the biggest banks out there.
Sure.
And I made so much money in the stress market, but it all came at a cost. And the cost of energy, because even though I love my corporate clients and I love what I did at the moment, imagine I'm the guy who wants to change people's lives.
Yes.
I'm the guy who I wanna make sure people are going to the next level. Then I'm in this business that I have to see people at the lowest moments of their lives. So that was energetically killing me.
Yes.
So one of the things that I've learned is that it doesn't matter how much money you make, is how do you make your money what matters.
Right.
So when I realized that even though I was making a lot of money, that wasn't a legacy that I wanted to leave with my kids. That's when I started to see what's my purpose. What can I do with the gift that I have?
Yeah, that's so powerful, man. That's so powerful. What's your advice to people that feel lost, that feel like they're drifting through life? You've given us bombs all day today. I appreciate that. But talk to that person right now that just feels helpless and hopeless, and they're going, I got no money, I got no credit, and Raul, you're great, but man, this is all bullshit. It ain't going to work for me.
I want you to pick up another book. It's called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. I've written this book probably more than 20 times. Outwitting the Devil talks about drifting through life, and that's where I got the concept of the drift. And the drift is driven by fear. So if you right now feeling stuck, I want you to start reframing that. I say, I'm not stuck, I am in fear. The moment that you already acknowledge that you're living by fear, it changes the game. Because a couple, well, I'm stuck, I don't want to do my life. Well, that's, if you're stuck, then everybody's stuck. But if you say, I'm afraid, I'm living in fear, and then you start asking, why am I afraid? What is the fear? Is it am I afraid to lose money? Am I afraid not to be loved? Am I afraid of not to be accepted? So you start looking at what are the fears, and then when you take one step further, who taught you this fear?
Right.
Who was the person in your life that you actually inherit this fear from? It could have been your dad, it could be your mother, it could have been anybody around you, right? Because at the end of the day, all the fears that we have are being conditioned for. The only fear that we're born with is loud noises and the fear of falling down, I believe.
Yes.
Everything else is conditioning. So you have to start asking yourself, what have I been conditioned by? What's the fear that I've been conditioned by? So like the man that you see right now, I'm breaking the conditioning.
Yes.
I'm breaking the conditioning, and that just is every single day, Glenn, because the media is trying to condition us with something. Social media is trying to condition us with something else. Like every single day, my job as a father, as a husband, as an entrepreneur is to get rid of the shit that's conditioning me, so I can discover who am I, and most important, who do I want to become. So if you're stuck right now, I want you to start looking at what's the fear that you are not getting real with. What's the fear that's holding you back? And then once you identify that, who gave you that fear? Who did you learn that fear from? And now the third step is, who do I want to become?
Yes.
Who do I want to become, and then what do I need to do today to get closer to that version of myself? And that's what most men are not willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
Because we all see the social media, we all see the great, the highlight reel, right? And that's what I tell people, like social media is a highlight reel. Like I have a media company, and I post a lot of the shit that I'm going through, but I have my own life. I'm not an influencer. I'm not, I don't show everything on social media. So we can't believe everything that we see in social media. That's the highlight reel. But you know what you see? The things that are going on in your life right now, and you're comparing yourself with everybody else. And that's what's keeping you with guilt and with shame, because you think that you're not up to par with everyone else around you. So I say, fuck everyone.
Right.
You need to make sure that you're feeding the king. If you're not feeding the king,
yes,
you're not going to be strong enough for your family, for your kids, for your employees, for the people who you want to serve.
I love it.
The problem that we have right now is a problem with weak men. We are weak men that we're not willing to get stronger because we are afraid of the dark. We're afraid, and we're so insecure about the shit that we're going through that's where we want to be a pleaser. Want to please everyone. That's the biggest, and I could speak from experience.
Yes.
I've been weak, I've been a pleaser, I've been a peasant, so I'm not saying anything that I haven't been.
Sure.
And if I wasn't doing the work on a daily basis, Glenn, I probably we'd be back into the pleaser mentality or the peasant mentality like this.
Yes.
Because our mind is like a rubber band. Mm-hmm. It's always gonna come back to the most comfortable position if you're not working it like a muscle every single day.
Well, yeah, the easiest people to sell to and to manipulate and to influence are the peasants, and so that's what's out there. And you gotta have your shield. You gotta guard yourself, and you gotta understand, why are people communicating with me like this? There's a reason, and the reason isn't necessarily to help you, but I do believe that your purpose is to help people, Raul. So we're going to conclude our interview on this thing that we call knowledge through the decades. And this is just a little fun thing I always do with every one of my guests, where we're going to walk through each decade of your life, and you're going to give me the attitude lesson. So I want you to, first of all, think about childbirth. Think about being born. Or think about your kids being born. You probably don't remember. But, like, what's the attitude lesson from birth, from being born?
So I will say, for my kids, when I saw my kids being born, for me, the lesson was opportunity. An opportunity for me to have the opportunity to be a father, for me to have the opportunity to learn from this experience.
Love that. That's good. Now I want you to go back to Ecuador when you were 10 years old. I don't know if you remember being in 3rd or 4th grade. If you want to say your teacher's name, please do. We always love to honor our teachers. But what happened to you at 10? Was there a story? What was there when you turned 10 years old? What was your attitude lesson at 10?
Resilient. I had to become resilient because I came here 11 years old, so 10, 11 years old, and I didn't know how to speak English, so I had to be resilient learning how to speak English.
Yes.
I got picked on and bullied in school because, I was in a bilingual program.
Yes.
So I had to learn how to defend myself. But most important, I think that we live in the East Coast, so it was cold as fucking here. And I remember my mom dressing me up like with 5 sweaters, 5 jackets, mittens. I didn't have gloves, man. Mittens. I'm 11 years old and I have mittens with a hat on, and I'm walking around like I'm like a snowman going to the bus stop. So no wonder I got beat up, right?
Right.
But it's just the resilience of I remember the harsh winters. We came here in the winter.
Yes.
I remember the harsh winters. I remember the toughest moments. But that made me who I am because we went through those moments. We had 8 families living in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
So every now and then I tell the stories to my kids. My kids think I'm making shit up. There wasn't social media back then, so we couldn't post that, right? So I have no proof except for what my parents tell them, what my brother and my sister tell them. But that's just resilience.
Now, when you said you had 2 families living in an apartment, one of the things...
8 families in a 2-bedroom apartment.
8 families, all from Ecuador. Were they
all from Ecuador? Uncles, cousins. I mean, we like 15 people in a 2-bedroom apartment.
That's crazy. Do you remember your grandparents? And if you do remember them, which grandparent had the most effect on you? What was the greatest lesson your grandparents taught you?
By far, my grandfather was the biggest influence in my life outside of my dad. He always treated me as a king. When I was a little kid, he always addressed me as a king.
Wow.
He was like, "You're gonna be a king one day. You are a king. Remember, you're a king." So, man, now the book, The King's Code. It's like, can't make this shit up. It's just conditioning, right?
Well, God bless him. What was his name?
Hugo.
Hugo?
Yep.
I love it. Well, see, there you go. Grandparents are unbelievable. We always love to dive into that with our guests. Let's talk about when you were 20. What was going on with you? Did you go to college? What was happening in your life? What was the attitude lesson at 20?
Oh, and at 20 is when I was madly in love with my current wife now.
Oh, cool.
So persistence because she didn't want to be with me. She wanted to be with me. Her parents didn't want to be with me for all the right reasons. Because if I have a kid like I was showing up on my daughter's steps, I probably would kick him out too. I had tinted windows, neon lights on the bottom, loudspeakers, driving, with my one hand on the wheel, going to pick up the daughter, so they didn't want to have nothing to do with me.
That is too good. Persistent. What were you doing to make money back then?
At 20, I was already entrepreneur. I was already in the entrepreneur skills. I was a part of a multi-level company. At that point, I was trying to sell anything that I get my hands on. I sold computers. I sold I think DVDs, at the same time T-shirts. I was selling T-shirts. I was buying T-shirts from the Bronx and selling them in Connecticut. But
Oh
at
my
21 is when I got into real estate.
Right.
So in my 20s, I really learned the real estate game and the selling game,
Yeah.
and that's really when I found my ground.
That's very cool. All right, so let's go to 30. Do you remember your 30th birthday party? Do you remember turning 30, and what did you learn? What was the attitude lesson at 30?
So that's when at the beginning of the 30s, I was 30 years old. Already had 2 offices, had 100 people working for me.
Yeah.
I was the man at 30 years old. I remember my accountant sent me a message saying, "Raul, you've made it. You have a multi-billion-dollar net worth in real estate. Like, you should be writing a book about, the American dream." At 35, I was going through my tunnel. So,
Right.
so that the 30th was a rebirth for me.
Ah, very good. Rebirth. I love it. Now, you got to be over 40, right?
45.
All right, so this will be our last one then. So think about when you turn 40. What was your thought when you turned 40? What was going on with you? What's the attitude lesson of 40?
Oh man, at 40, I was truly enjoying the rebirth.
Right.
Because if you look back, I've started already the next level experience. I've been doing this for 6 years. So 5 years ago, it was my first year. So I was enjoying the rebirth.
Right.
I was still trying to figure out the impact, but I already had a taste of purpose. So for me, 40 will be purpose. Because that's where I'm at right now. I'm living my purpose. I'm owning my purpose. I'm shaping my life so I can have a purpose-driven business, not just a business.
I love it. So I wrote down gratitude too. You certainly, if you took the time to sit back and go that, and we do have quite. I had 3 offices and 153 people selling real estate as a brokerage for me. So it's amazing.
Yeah, so you know the game. It's not as glamorous as people make it seem, but it's a hustle. It's a hustle, and you have to be a leader. You have to work with people, and is a business that is very lucrative.
Yes.
But at the same time, if you have the right team, because I really had a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
When the market crashed, we went from 100 and something agents to 10 agents, and we did triple the production when the market crashed.
Yeah.
So it's just about I realized that this power on finding players.
Do you still have your real estate license?
Yeah, I still have a brokerage.
Cool.
I still have partners.
Nice.
I'm not in the day-to-day operations anymore. I'm not running the business, but my partners are.
I got you. Very good. And were they always your partners?
Since day one, they've been with me from the beginning. Now they have their own their own empires that they're running.
Good. I got you.
So if I look back, I would probably have done things different because I would have a lot more partners than what I have now.
You would have more partners or less?
A lot more. Because what I know now is that there's power on helping others get to the next level.
Yes.
In the real estate business, as you know, is very niche driven and sometimes very selfish, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to control our territory, we want to control our inventory or what we have. I wasn't in the abundance mentality back then, so that's why I only have a handful of partners. Now, I want to really. I met with Richard Branson a couple of years ago on his island, and he runs 350 companies. And I asked him, what was his secret of running all those companies? He says, people. He said, I partner with people who are smarter than me, that have the same vision as me.
Yeah, that is so good. Now, Gappers, if that wasn't worth the whole interview, I don't know what was, but that is so true. So, Raul, just to conclude it, one thing I always love to do is if you could just speak to my audience, speak to the person that's sitting here listening to you and I talk. Just, if you could give them a message of hope as we close, your thoughts for them, thoughts as an entrepreneur, as a parent, whatever. We just would love to hear your, what I always call it, the final blessing on the Get Attitude podcast from our guests. So please,
so
please
listen
open
up,
it up.
Gappers, listen up, all right? You have to understand that in life, we're all going to go through stages. And if you don't appreciate the stage that you're in right now, if you can't find the gift with the challenge that you're facing right now, you're never going to go to the next level. Appreciate the level that you're in right now. Count your blessings. And from that place, find the opportunity and the momentum to go to the next level. But don't ever think that their grass is greener in the other side. Everybody has situations. We all have our own shit. If you master your challenges, gonna be able to come out on the other side even stronger than before.
I love that. We are with Raul Villacis, and Raul, you've just been fantastic. You can find him at the kingscodebook.com if you want to get the King's Code book. It's unreal. He's an entrepreneur, he's an author, he's a speaker, and now he is a guest on the Get Attitude podcast. Raul, thank you so much. We're very grateful. God bless you. Namaste.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.